Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. Aiden Daniels asked, what do you think will spark the next wave of riots and protests? Well, it's going to be these evictions. The evictions will spark the next wave of riots and protests because people are going to go, no. And we will see the evictions will happen, and it'll be part of the systemic racism. They'll go to the working class, the black and brown communities, and working class white people and poor white people, and any poor and working class people of any ethnicity, they're going to go take those homes first. That's when more protests are going to happen, when people are like, what? Like if they cut this pandemic unemployment, this $600, which they're debating, and they might, even if they keep that going, okay. But when they start going to evict people's homes, that's when it's going to happen. It's going to be gnarly, man. Because people are going to go, no. And there's a news, 3 million guns have been bought in this country since March. And I don't want to see violence, and I don't want to see all this crazy shit, but I mean, some people are going to go, and I can't say I blame them. If the police come and say, we're taking your home, people might just go, no, you're not. And then what? And then what? So when people start losing their homes, and when people, you know, when there's food shortages or whatever, when the economy right now is being propped up. So we're not even really in a Great Depression yet. We're going to be. It's still getting propped up, but it's going to be when these evictions happen. That's when people are going to go, what? And look, that's when the labor riots and everything started in the 20s and the 30s. When people were losing their homes and just living on the street. We've got all these people living on the street. And I don't know. I hope that's when people realize, especially these like white nationalists. White nationalists have so much more in common with like working class people of color than they're so angry at the wrong people. It's unbelievable. Like, the black man and Latinos took my... No. Billionaires took your job. And that's who's going to take your home. That's who's going to take your business. So that's probably what it's going to be. 28 million evictions we're looking at. And since Wall Street was given $4.25 trillion, part of that money is so they can go come and steal your home. You know? And I just think like that is what is going to be it. I mean, when the whole quarantine started, I've said this before on the show. I go, we haven't even seen it yet. When, you know, people haven't. Now all the numbers have spiked again, so everything's going to get like here in California. We're starting to close stuff back down again. The gyms got closed, the nail salons got closed, restaurants can only be outdoors. Okay, it's summertime, weather's nice. But what are we going to do in the winter? And this is Southern California. Well, okay, we can put heat lamps, but what are you going to do in the northern states? What are you going to do in Minneapolis and Wisconsin and Chicago and Indiana and all these states that have long, cold winters? You can't, there's only about 3-4 months out of the year where you can eat outside. And even the eating outside, which is, you know, hey, I hope these businesses last, but it's going to be, that is just life support. I mean, and you're going to have all these hotels go out of business, and they're going to have to do something. They're going to have, I mean, the government's going to have, and if they don't, then there's going to be mass protests and riots. And if they stop pumping, eventually the Fed's going to stop printing money. Eventually they're going to probably stop. And then what? Then what? It's all the more reason why I've been doing more research on cryptocurrency. And I had my friend Rosie Tran on the show to talk about it from her podcast, Out of the Box Rosie. And I've started to do more, you know, watch videos. I've converted some money into crypto. So I think this is what's going to happen. When the evictions come, there's going to be more civil unrest. And then the bankruptcies are going to come. And the foreclosures are going to come. That's what's going to happen. Hopefully in there, that's why you see the corporate media is pushing this race divide, this race war so hard. I'm not denouncing or trying to minimize that there's racism in this country. There are people who are these white nationalists, and they're scary people, and black men are being lynched. That is for real. That is not a like, oh, it's a handful. No. There's some scary shit happening. Absolutely. But that's why they're trying to keep us so divided. They need us divided, because if everybody, all these working class people, if everybody in the 99% got together and realized what was happening, then the 1%'s game is over. Then it's over. Then they're not lynching black men or people of color. They're lynching billionaires. I mean, and they know this. The ruling class knows this. They know how close they are to this happening. So they have to try to keep us divided. They have to push this. Again, I'm not minimizing the racism in this country, but the way the media talks about it, they say it's black versus white. And it's like, no, wait a minute. I've been to a half a dozen protests. There's a lot of white people in all different ethnicities in Los Angeles. I'm watching protests in other cities and states that are primarily white, and it's all white people at the Black Lives Matter protests. So that doesn't fit the narrative. They got to keep this like, oh, it's black versus white. It's like, no, it's it's a bunch of people finally going, yes, the black community has been completely mistreated for centuries. There's systemic racism that goes all the way back to slavery, and we want to do something about it. There's like way more white people like getting involved than I've ever seen. And that's why they've got to push this. They've got to keep us divided. They have to push it. They have to keep pushing it. So when the evictions and the foreclosures and the bankruptcies all start, that's when there's going to be more civil unrest. And hopefully in there'll be some people that can rise up and be leaders and unify, like what Fred Hampton did. Fred Hampton was the head of the Black Panther Party in Chicago in the late 1960s. He was a young man, early 20s, and he went to this neighborhood in Chicago called Hillbilly Harlem, which was nicknamed that because Southern whites who emigrated up to Chicago for jobs, they like all got together in this one neighborhood, and it was a lot of Southern whites, many of whom openly racist, Confederate flags. And Fred Hampton went to them and said, capitalism is creating racism. Capitalism is creating this divide. Capitalism wants us fighting each other. That's why so much of the like white nationalist thing is like, oh, they're taking our jobs and diversity is taking our jobs. It's like, no, capitalism took your job. The billionaire ruling class took your job. That's what capitalism does. If we had federal jobs guarantee and UBI, no one would be out of work. No one would have to compete with each other for a job. It's the thing why I love about YouTube and podcasting in a digital medium, because in the old traditional model, well, let's say Jimmy Dore had a late night talk show on ABC and I had a late night talk show on NBC. Now Jimmy Dore and I would be competitors. We're not competitors now. He can do his show. I can do mine. I try not to go live at the same time of him, but whatever. We can drop videos on the same day. You can watch both of our shows. You don't have to choose. It's capitalism. You know, there's this one job and all, you know, there's 10 people fighting for that job. So it breeds racism, you know? So I hope people wake up to this fact that they're being played and someone can unify them. That'd be great if somebody could, because that's when all the next protests and unrest and stuff is going to happen. When the evictions start. Shave your knuckles for justice. Hey everybody, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification button and the subscribe button, even if you've done it before, because they're unsubscribing, many of you, every day. Watch the ads all the way through. If you click skip ad, I don't get paid. Also, support us at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. Rockfin.com is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. All my videos are on Rockfin ad-free. Thanks for watching.